Yay! So today I'm going to be showing you how to transform a square root function. So, the parent function of the square root function is the root of x. Now this would look something a little bit like this. Alright, so in today's video we are going to be covering the vertical stretch and compression, the horizontal stretch and compression, the reflection on either the x or the y-axis, the horizontal translation, which is up and down, and the vertical translation, which is left and right. So to start, the formula for the square root function is f at x equals a square root k x minus d plus c. Now, you might be thinking, what do all these letters mean? So the a and the c affect the square root function vertically, and the k and the d affect the square root function horizontally. Okay, so first we're going to start with our a value. So we know that the a value affects the square root function vertically. So to do so, I changed our parent function to put a 2 right in front of the root x, so that in the graph everything gets stretched by 2. So as you can see, the dark blue square root function is our parent function, and the red is after we've had a vertical stretch. Okay, and the next letter we're going to be looking at is k. So for our k value, we know that it affects our square root function horizontally. So to do so, the k has to be inside the square root sign. So I just put a 3, so now it's 3 times x. Okay? So as you can see in our graph here, the light blue line, might be a little bit hard to see, but it's the bottom line, is our parent function. And the darker blue line that is stretched horizontally is what happens to the function after we add in the k value. Alright guys, now let's reflect on what this next transformation does. So, what is a reflection? You want to think of it a little bit as like you're reflecting your function across a mirror. So, I chose to reflect it over the x-axis, which involves the a. Now remember that the a value affects our function vertically. So to do that, I would have to put the negative sign on the outside of the square root function. But if I wanted to reflect it horizontally, that would affect the k value, which means that the negative sign would be inside the square root function. So, as you can see in my graph, the dark blue is our parent function, and the red is our reflected function. It's just like a mirror. Alright guys, so the next letter we're going to be looking at is D. So from our formula, you can see that D affects our function horizontally, which means that it's either moving left or it's moving right. So I changed our parent function to be f at x equals to square root of x plus 3. Now, don't get confused, because it says x plus 3 does not mean that it moves to the right. It actually moves to the left. Alright, so it would be this red line right here if this is our parent function. Now, if it was to be x minus 3, then it would be moving to the right, which means that it would look something like this. Just that darker line there. But because we don't want to worry about that and we're moving it to the right, I'm just going to erase that right there. As you can see, our last letter is C. And that's all the way at the end of our formula. And this affects our function vertically. So, the vertical translation moves the function either up or down. So I changed our parent function to f at x equals the root of x, and then make sure it's out of the square root sign plus 3. So you want to move our parent function, which is the light blue, up 3 points. So you want to move all of the points up 3. So then you'll get this red function right here. Now, don't be fooled just because the D value, every time you saw a positive, it meant a negative, and every time you saw a negative, it meant a positive. It's not the same thing. If it means up 3, it'll be plus 3, and if it means down 3, it'll mean minus 3. So don't get confused about that. Alright guys, so this is what it looks like if you draw all the functions out by hand on graph paper. Each color means a different letter, and our parent function, as you can see, is the one in the pencil. That's it guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this helped you learn how to transform a square root function.